So another way that we can use, another technology, sorry, we can use to present that information is augmented reality. So who's played with augmented reality at all here? A few people? Too many? All right. So let's talk about what it is first of all, and then we can talk about, where does that fit into industrial use cases. Okay. So augmented reality or AR, superimposing computer graphics onto a live view of the world. Okay. So you're looking at around AR things. It's all things like Pokemon Go and Snapchat filters and all that sort of stuff, right? Limited industrial value from those tools. Okay. Very big in the social space. Facebook's investing lots in AR, have been for a long time. Apple's getting into it, but there are a lot of industrial benefits from AR, and really that comes down to what AR offers in terms of capabilities. Okay, so one of the big things is that AR complements IoT, right? So IoT is around gathering, going to physical assets out there in the field and gathering information about them digitally. Okay, AR is about taking that information from the digital world and presenting that back in the physical world, overlaying that in the real world. Okay, so what can that look like? Well, let's take a look at some examples of that. Okay, so really the three main capabilities that AR offers that give us some industrial value are the ability to visualize information, the ability to instruct, guide people through steps, and interact with devices. Okay, so to talk about them in a little bit more detail on the visualize side of things, that's really what AR is overlaying digital information in the real world. So that could be real world information, that information that we're already gathering, or it could be hypothetical digital information, models and the like. So a digital model example, IICA is a great example. They've been using AR for a really long time. I know probably some of you here have played with the IICA Place app. You go and download the app, put it on the floor, say, I want to see what this couch is going to look like. Is it going to fit? Is it going to match my decor? All that sort of things, right? So that's an example of using, placing digital information that does exist somewhere, but you don't have it there in front of you in the real world to see what's going to happen. Is that going to fit? Okay. So that's digital models, or we could display third-party data. So this is actually something that we at Leap did with the RMIT former SAE team to show fluid flow. Okay, so CFD results. So this is what the airflow is going to look like projected onto the real car to show why certain design decisions were made. Okay. Or displaying IoT data, which is what we're going to be talking about. Okay. So what if I could go up to the machine and actually see in real time what those sensors are actually giving me? Okay. So I can go and build, I can go and have my manufacturing apps to show that on a computer screen somewhere. Chances are that's not right there on the machine. Okay. If I'm the operator, I don't see that information there. I've got to go somewhere to a computer that's in a nice room that doesn't get all dirty and everything else. Right. With AR, we can actually show that information in context on the device. Okay, that's one of the great drivers of value from IoT and AR to combine together. Okay. On the instructional guide section, this comes back to our whole, retiring workforce, how we skill people up really quickly, right? So we've got a whole generation of people coming into the workforce who aren't going to read the manual, right? You can absolutely guarantee that. They're going to go to a YouTube video and watch that. Right, that's how they've grown up. Who here watches YouTube videos to learn how to do stuff? Yeah. Okay? Most people do. You don't read the manual, right? You go and search for it on YouTube. Okay? So YouTube's great. You can pretty much find anything and play it back and look through it and pause it whenever you like. But someone described to me one of the problems with YouTube is, well, what if you're not seeing it from the right angle? Right? You're limited to whatever the person filming decided was the best angle to show it to you from. So with AR, we can use that digital information that we've got and overlay that in the real world to provide contextual instructions or real-time expert guidance. Okay, so this is a little snippet from a video from Microsoft. This was a project that they did with PTC and BA Systems in the US. So they basically built some instructions in 3D to overlay, showing an operator how to assemble a battery. Okay, so this is the battery being put together. So rather than reading through the manual, going through all that sort of stuff, or your little SOP guide there, you're providing that real-time instruction there in front of the user. Potentially could be overlaid on top of the device as well, although in this case they decided to put it up landscape, okay, to go through those steps and record what's happening with that. Okay, and the metrics from this, I think it was 60% faster first-time assembly, huge reductions in problems with failure rates and things like that. Okay, so there's a lot of benefits from the training side. There's loads and loads of studies been going for years and years and years to show how AR can improve training, retention, reduce time, all that kind of information. Okay, and as I said, you've got a generation coming in who've grown up, playing 3D games, working in computers, working with devices. That's what they're used to. Okay. The other part of it is remote expert guidance. So, you've got that problem, you're trying to talk to someone, trying to explain what you're seeing, they're trying to understand what you're seeing. What happens these days is people will just go and do a FaceTime call. Okay, that's really common with service techs now, Skype video call, whatever it might be. Okay, AR can add the next level on top of that. So rather than just showing the screen, while we're talking, we can be drawing and marking up each other's views to explain this is what we're going to do, right? So you can still point it, you can say, now flick the left switch. No, not that left switch, the other left switch, right? So rather than doing that, we can actually say, flick this switch, so they can see what I'm drawing on their screen, okay? In real time while we're talking, okay? So that's another part of the AR side of it. And then the last one is around how do we interact with devices. So as more and more devices, pieces of equipment, whatever they might be, go digital, okay? They can potentially be remotely controlled and accessed, okay? So what AR gives us is another way to interface with those devices. So rather than having a HMI or being limited by the HMI on the device itself, we can actually show or create a whole other UI that's projected into the world around that device. And we can interact with that UI, okay? So as an example of that, this is an example from ThyssenKrupp Elevators in the US. They've rolled out Microsoft HoloLens AR headsets for their service teams. So rather than typing away on a tablet and seeing stuff, they've got this app that combines a lot of things. So the ability to log service jobs, build that UI, do remote calls to share to an expert user back in the office. A whole lot of these different techniques. Okay. So you'll start to see that will become more and more common in industry. Okay. All right. So they're kind of the three main capabilities that AR offers. Okay. The ability to visualize, instruct, and guide, or interact with devices. Okay. So let's have a quick look at what that might actually look like in the real world. Okay, so start my screen sharing here so you can see. All right. So what I've got here is, I'll make sure I don't accidentally unplug like I did the other week. Okay. Inside this, I've got a little Raspberry Pi, great little IoT device. Everyone loves playing with Raspberry Pis. Okay, so it's a little computer, essentially connected to ThingWorx. Okay, so at the moment on that device, it is still running. You can see there's the little log window that's running. Basically, it's taking some sensor readings from the sensors that are built into the board on there, temperature, pressure, humidity, things like that, and creating a little data pack and streaming that off to a ThingWorx server that we've got in the cloud. Okay, so that's my smart connected device. Okay. So in terms of viewing that, I could come to a mashup, something like this, get my blue Sigma tile, get my map ROM, and I can start to see what the temperature is, what the CPU load is. I can see historical information. So you can see there's where my pitch and roll and yaw changes I picked up to show it to you guys, right? Okay. So I could simply log that information. I could start to build alerts for that information as well. If there's too much vibration, if there's too much acceleration, maybe that should have sent an alert or done something to make the screen go red. Okay, roll around a little bit while it takes some readings. Pop it back down again. And start to see it starting to spike down the bottom. Acceleration. There we go. Okay. So obviously it comes back to how quickly you sample that rate, all that sort of stuff. But that's an example of the sort of information we can gather. Right? So this is a UI that was built. Obviously the manufacturer apps is something like that as well. Okay? So that's one way to view that information. But we can also view that information or view this device using AR. Okay? So what I've got here, let me just grab this. Alright. So from the AR side of things, I can just bring the lights up a little bit. So the idea is that I can come up to that device, and I could read the marker on the device or something about the device itself, maybe a barcode or something like that, to scan that and see what's happening with this device. Okay, so I can there's a little bit of background download happening there. Okay, so if I wanted to see, what is the temperature of this device, I could show that. Okay, so that is a live temperature feed coming off those sensors that I was showing in the mashup, but in context I can show what is the current temperature, what is the current humidity on that device. Okay. If I want to explain to someone, well, how do you do a service on this? So maybe I could have some service instructions built from my CAD, so I could say, well, step 1 is to unplug that. Okay, and overlay that on the physical device. Step 2, unscrew that. Okay, and then keep note of the rest of my instructions. Okay, so rather than having to read a manual, do all that sort of stuff, it's a simple device to service, but you get the idea. Okay, I can provide that in-context information to explain to someone, how do you do this? Okay, and I can even pause the screen like I do on YouTube and put it down and keep playing that while I'm working away on the device. Okay, so that's a little bit of an example of what we can do with AR. All right. Okay, so that's what I want to cover off on the AR side. Again, I know Charles got some good stuff to show you downstairs, but if you do want to have a play with that app, you can go and use both the AR viewing and also the remote expert assistance. Go to the App Store, search for Vuforia, and you'll see Vuforia View, which was what I was using to view that experience. There's some demo examples there, and the remote expert assistance, Vuforia Chalk. Okay, so search for Vuforia in your App Store and try that out. Okay, all right. So that's enough from me. So I'll hand over to Dr. Chatty Live from RMIT, and he's going to talk about what they've been doing here with some of these tools. Thank you.